knowledge, not anything else. The love is actually the main force of the universe. And you could say that God's universal prime energy, I believe, is just another way of saying God's love. The initiating factor that created everything. Okay, so then we have love and we have free will. Okay? So then, what does that mean? How does this work? How's my time here? I'm running over time, aren't I?
No, you have at least 10 minutes.
Oh, at least 10 minutes. Okay. So anyway, to finish this up, by the way,
You started at 9:20.
Okay. Oh, okay, good. Oh, good. Okay. I don't want to. I'm trying to pace it here, without going into too much detail. Okay. So love is the purpose of the universe. Now, human beings have free will to express love. Let's explore that concept a little bit more deeply. But before I go really into it, I want to take a short detour that'll help us to understand how love is manifested. Okay? I want to talk about something else called growth. I'm not going to do that. I'll just go here. I'm going to talk about growth. I was going to use this one. Oh, not that one. Oh, that's something else.
Completion stage.
I was going to use that one. But I'm not going to continue there, okay? Because everybody out here already saw that one. Okay, so growth, yeah. Okay, so growth. Growth is a very important thing. We all understand this. Nobody expects to walk outside and the first day of spring and find fully grown trees and vines and things like that. Nobody expects a man and a woman to get married and have adult children the next day. No. We all got to pay our dues by having teenagers for a while, Yes, we have to go that way. We have to prove our love in difficult circumstances. Everything comes about through growth. I plant seeds in the ground. I don't expect them to pop up into flowers. I expect them to grow slowly and develop. And it's someday to manifest their beauty and goodness after that process of growth. Growth is another key element of what we're talking about here, okay? And we can say that things grow in a series of stages, okay? Not here and then suddenly here. But for example, the flower starts out as a little seed and then grows into a seedling and then eventually becomes a fully grown plant. And then, once fully grown, it begins to produce flowers and gets pollinated by bees and butterflies and eventually produces a seed and has fulfilled its purpose and then dies. So it goes through a series of stages. The formation stage, which is beginning to form. Growth stage, when it's actually growing through its most powerful movement towards maturity. And then the completion stage, when it actually fulfills the purpose for which God created it, which is to produce beauty. Isn't that really why God made flowers? To make us happy, to give us joy through their beauty. So it fulfills its purpose. It also reproduces to create the next generation. Then it dies because, it's done. It's fulfilled its purpose. This applies for everything. Nothing comes about without growth. So how about human beings? Okay. Human beings also go through a series of growth. They start out as little babies. Okay. That's not a very good picture of a baby, but anyway, he's crawling, okay? It's not a bug, it's a baby, okay?
It's a spider.
It's not a spider, it's a baby, okay? Everybody got that? It's a baby, okay? All right, starts out as a little baby, okay? Here, let's do it like this, all right? Okay, there he is, okay, a little baby. He cries a lot. Now he grows up, and the baby, growing. Maybe these are the years of toddlerhood, when the baby's just beginning to form. Walk around, step on things, eat soap, which my son did one time, get into things, make trouble, and, basically develop up to the next stage. This next stage is when all the really important growth happens. The stage between kind of toddlerhood, say, getting around kindergarten age, and until through the years that we educate children. We could say that maybe the K through 12 years. When the child is developing in maturity and physical growth and becoming strong and knowledgeable and able to think and do many things, this is the period of growth. Okay? And I'd say this ends in the late teenage years. Okay? The thing about teenagers, they've grown just like the flower. They've manifested themselves physically. They've reached their full physical growth, and yet they haven't really fulfilled their purpose yet. And you know, although they have a brain which can think many things, and yet they haven't quite got it together that they can actually think things that are useful and valuable for human beings yet. Okay, because they need to develop that capability. That's what we call maturity. You know, and that's what happens during this last period as a child, say, goes up into, around 21 or so, 22, when they, are old enough that we can feel comfortable letting them marry and have children and fulfill their purpose as a couple, to have a family. So human beings grow like this, like this, like this, like this, okay? Now, we say that this period here is a period of indirect dominion. Divine principle has lots of kind of words like this, which doesn't mean a whole lot without explanation. So I'm going to explain this one. Indirect dominion means that during this time, we don't necessarily have a direct relationship with God. God's not really talking to us, telling us what to do. Instead, we have a list of rules and guidelines by which we are supposed to live. Okay? The 10 Commandments. The words of our parents, the laws that the government, don't speed, don't kill, all that kind of stuff. We live during this time in the indirect dominion. We're not directly controlled by God. Instead, we have a commandment, a principle, a law, which we must follow and obey in order to grow into maturity. Now, we believe that human beings started with human ancestors, with Adam and Eve, okay? And actually that's, I don't know, Pastor Frank's going to bring that up later on, but that turns out to be true. All human beings have a common female ancestor. They proved it scientifically, okay? And we believe Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden were meant to grow into maturity by following a commandment that God gave. And the commandment was, do not eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. That they were supposed to obey a commandment, a rule that God gave. And following this commandment, staying faithful to God's word, they would grow and grow and grow into the point where they reached maturity. And by faithfully giving their love to God through their free will, obeying that commandment, returning love to God, they could reach a point where they have fulfilled their purpose and enter the direct dominion of God. In other words, what this means basically is they would become one with God. God's feelings would be their feelings. God's thoughts would be their thoughts. Not like they would be the same as God, but that they and God would be so much of every part of their life. And they would be so much connected with God's heart and God's way of thinking that, in a sense, you could say they're one. And isn't that really what we say? Like, for example, Christians believe Jesus was one with God. In other words, that he felt and thought and understood as God felt and thought and understood. This is actually our goal. All of us are meant to eventually reach the point where we are one with God, the direct dominion. So through a process of growth, obeying the commandment, the law, oh man, it's weird. Get a whiteboard for me. I forget how to spell. Always have.
You can't talk and spell at the same time. That's my problem.
Yeah.
I've always taught you that. I can't talk and spell at the same time.
And there's another problem too. Whiteboards don't have spell checkers.
Yeah.
We need a little, button here I can push, and the spelling will, come out right. So we arrive. We grow, and eventually we enter into the direct dominion of God. And this is the purpose of our creation, to enter into the direct dominion of God, to become one with God. And yet we're not one with God. None of us here, I think, can say that we are one with God.